Wait, Robin, you are muted. We see your lips moving.
How about now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Do each of you swear or affirm that the information you give before the court today will be the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down. First on the docket is cause number 37, the state of Judy Luttrell. Mr. Trawick. Anybody on here for Luttrell?
I am
Where are you?
right
Oh,
here.
I see. Okay. What about, are you Miss
I'm
Benitez?
Cynthia Benitez. I'm her guardian.
Okay. Your attorney? You don't see the attorney?
I do not.
All right, let's give him a minute. We'll come back to it. She just got on. Where is she? Oh, there you are. All right. Ms. Trawick, we're on you. You are muted.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed.
Your Honor, we are asking for the court to transfer this guardianship for Miss Judy Luttrell, incapacitated person in Lee County, to Chambers County, where she currently is.
Okay, you got any testimony you're gonna put on?
Your Honor, Miss Luttrell moved to the county almost a year ago. She is moved in order to be closer to family and care, and so this is where she intends to reside. She doesn't intend to return to the county, and she's getting proper care there, and we're asking for the court to grant it to us, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm gonna grant the transfer of the guardianship of Miss Judy Luttrell from Lee County to Chambers County. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Yes, ma'am. You may be.
Thank you.
All right, call number 49, the state of Dorothy Ann Baca. Dennis, good morning.
Good morning, Judge.
And you may proceed.
Thank you, sir. Would you please state your name for the court?
Stephen Ray Botcha.
And how are you related to the decedent?
I'm her son.
And did the decedent die on about April 2nd, 2024?
Yes.
And did she reside at Chambers County, Texas?
Yes.
Did she die without revoking her will, to your knowledge?
Yes.
Were there any child or children born after she made that will?
No.
At the time of the execution of the will, do you believe she was of sound mind and at least 18 years of age?
Yes.
Did she have a marriage dissolve after the will was made?
No.
Has 4 years elapsed since the filing of our petition and her death?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
Has 4 years elapsed since we filed the petition and her death?
No.
Okay. Was the state of Texas a devisee or a charity a devisee under the will?
No.
And she appointed you to be her independent executor
Yes.
and serve without bond, correct?
Yes.
Is there any reason why you wouldn't be qualified to serve as the executor?
No.
I pass the witness, Judge.
Question. All right, everybody admits a little probate and authorized letters.
Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
ma'am.
May we be excused?
You may be. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, cause number 50, the state of Travis Lawrence Hart Sr.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
We have a non-self-proof will, Your Honor, so we got 2 witnesses for the decedent's signature.
Okay, you may proceed.
I'd like to call Ms. Victoria Hart.
Here.
Hi, Ms. Hart. Can you please state your name for the court?
Victoria Landcheck Hart.
Thank you. And how long did you know the decedent, Mr. Travis Lawrence Hart Sr.?
28 years.
And how did you know him?
I'm his daughter-in-law.
Okay. And did you know him well enough to be able to identify his signature?
Yes.
And can you give the court some examples of how you were exposed to his signature over the years?
Looking at documents that he has signed.
Okay. And you're aware that he passed away on April 9th of 2024 in Chambers County, Texas, at the age of 84 years, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, would you like me to show her a copy of the will on the screen, Your Honor?
You can do that unless she's seen it.
Have you seen a copy of the will, Miss Hart?
Yes.
Okay. And did you recognize Mr. Hart's signature on that will on pages
Yes.
11 and 12?
Yes.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, at the time when he signed this will on April 27th of 2011, was he of sound mind, meaning he had no dementia or Alzheimer's or any other affliction of the mind?
No, he didn't.
So he was of sound mind, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And was he over the age of 18?
Yes.
Was he married when he signed the will?
Yes.
Okay. And after the date of the will, were any children born to him or adopted by him?
No.
And have you been promised anything for your testimony or compensated for your testimony?
No.
And do you stand to inherit anything from this estate?
No.
Okay. No further questions from Ms. Hart, Your Honor. I pass the witness to the court.
All right, no questions. You call your next witness.
Okay. I'd like to call Miss Michelle Helen Hart.
You may proceed.
Ma'am, can you please state your name for the court?
My name is Helen Michelle Hart.
Okay. And how long did you know the decedent, Mr. Travis Lawrence Hart Sr.?
For about 30 years.
And how'd you know him?
I am his daughter-in-law.
And did you know him well enough to be exposed to his signature?
Yes,
Okay. And if you have you had an opportunity to review his last will and testament?
I have. Yes.
And did you recognize his signature on that will?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And that will is dated April 27th of 2011. To the best of your knowledge, was he over the age of 18 when he signed that will?
Yes.
And was he married at that time?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And at the time, was he of sound mind?
Yes.
Okay. And did he have any children after the date of that will that were born to him or adopted by him?
No.
And have you been promised anything for your testimony or compensated for your testimony?
No, I have not.
Okay. And do you stand to inherit anything from Mr. Hart's will?
No, I do not.
Okay. Thank you very much. Your Honor, I pass the witness to the court.
Okay.
And then we have, let's see. And then we have Mr. Travis Lawrence Hart Jr. Mr. Hart, can you please state your name for the court?
Yes, Travis Lawrence Hart Jr., go by Larry Hart.
Okay. And Larry, how did you know Travis Sr.?
He was my father.
And you're aware that he passed away on April 9th of 2024 in Chambers County, Texas at the age of 84 years, correct?
Correct.
And it's true that he had his principal residence and his principal estate was located in Chambers County on the date of his death, correct?
Correct.
And it's true that 4 years have not lapsed since his date of death and the date that we filed the application to probate his will, correct?
Correct.
And when he executed this will, he named his wife, Martha Gill Hart, to be his primary executor. Is that correct?
That is correct.
However, she passed away and the will named you as the next in line executor. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you are qualified to serve as the independent executor without bond. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And did the will name, and it's also true that the will did not name the state of Texas, any charitable organization, or any governmental agency of the state of Texas as a beneficiary of this will, correct?
Correct.
And this is a non-taxable estate, is that correct?
That is correct.
And lastly, to the best of your knowledge, his will was never revoked after he signed it in April of 2011. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Your Honor, we respectfully request that Travis Lawrence Hart Jr. Be appointed as the independent executor of the state to serve without bond, and that the will be admitted to probate.
Thank you, Counselor.
You're welcome. Thank you, Judge.
You have a good day.
You too.
All right, call number 55, the state of Gary North Harrington. Mr. Fuller, good morning.
Good morning, Judge. Your Honor,
Yeah.
my name is Roy Fuller. I'm representing the applicants Gary Harrington and Ryan Harrington, sons of the decedent Gary Norris Harrington. The decedent died on March the 26th, 2024 in Houston, Harris County, Texas. He was 88 years of age. 4 years have not elapsed since the date of his death. The original, at the time of his death, he was a resident and domiciled in Chambers County. The original will has been filed with the court. It's dated August the 3rd, 2017. And to my knowledge, that's the last will and testament of the decedent. The will was never revoked. There is a need for administration of this estate. There were no children born after the execution of the will. The decedent did not have a marriage that was dissolved. The will named the spouse, Anna Harrington, to serve as independent executor, but she is deceased. As alternate executors, the will names the sons Gary Brandt Harrington and Ryan Derek Harrington to serve as co-independent executors. And to my knowledge, there's no reason why they would be disqualified. They've never committed a felony. The will does not name the state, governmental agency of the state, or a charitable organization as a devizee. It's a non-taxable estate. We'd ask the court to waive the appraisers and admit the will to probate.
Done. Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, call number 52, the state of Walter Leroy Nelson. Mr. McCall. Good morning. You're muted, Travis.
Can you hear me now?
Can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna be testifying, Your Honor. Walter Leroy Nelson passed away on May the 8th of this year. He had his fixed place of residence in Chambers County on the day he passed away. He left a valid written will dated April 16th of 2024 that was never revoked. He didn't leave anything to any governmental agency or charity. He didn't have any children born to or adopted to him after the date of the will. He never got divorced after the date of the will. His will named his son-in-law, Don Muckleroy, as the independent executor, and Mr. Muckleroy under the state code. And we're asking that the court approve the application to probate the will and name him as the independent executor without bond.
Hereby probate, or the will to probate and authorize letters. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Call number 7, the state of Gary Lee Milslagle.
Yes, sir, Your Honor, may I proceed?
Good morning, sir. You may proceed.
Kathleen, please state your name.
Kathleen Noble.
Miss Noble, is it true that Gary Lee Millisage, he was a resident of Chambers County and lived there and had property there? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, Gary died on or about October 2nd, 2023. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And at the time of his death, he was not married.
No, he was not.
And he was only married one time in his life.
Yes,
And that was to you. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Did y'all have any children?
We did.
And what are their names?
Jessica May Milslagle and Andrew Scott Milslagle.
Okay, and the judge in the court's file are 2 waivers signed by the 2 children, asking this court to appoint Kathleen Noble to be the independent executrix of the state, to serve without bond, and to waive appraisals. Now, with that said, is there a need to administer this estate?
Yes, there is.
Okay, now, Judge, at this time, I have a independent person that Mr. Dick Dawson has, my ad litem, has interviewed about this airship, and at that time, I would like to pass this to Mr. Dawson to examine Mr. Parker.
So, Mr. Dawson.
Kathleen Noble, is that right? That's right. That's correct. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you can hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did the decedent, Gary Lee Milslagle, did he have a will?
He did not.
Okay. Did you make an effort to look for a will?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And based upon those efforts, you were not able to find anything that would rise to the level of a will. Is that right?
That's correct.
And how long were you married to the decedent?
I was married to Gary for 8 years.
Okay. How long were you together with Gary? Whether or not you were married?
About 9 years.
Okay. And were there were 2 children born to the marriage, is that right?
That's correct.
Was there any other children? Did Gary
Any other children?
No, sir.
Millslagel have?
No, sir. He did not have any other children.
Okay, and were there any deceased children of Gary Lee Millslagel?
No, sir.
Okay, so would it be fair to state that the only heirs of his estate would be his 2 children, Jessica May Millslagel and Andrew Scott Millslagel, is that right?
That's correct.
And they're aware of this proceeding, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And they're in agreement that you'll be appointed independent administrator, is that correct?
That's correct.
And have you had any trouble with the law, ma'am, other than maybe some traffic tickets?
No, sir.
Okay. That's all I have. I pass the witness.
Brannick.
At this time, Your Honor, I was asked that if Mr. Dawson could call Mr. Barker and have Mr. Barker testify as to what Mr. Dawson interviewed him about the airship.
I'm ready to proceed on Rodney Barker, subject to the approval of Mr. Zabranik.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so you may proceed.
Mr. Barker, state your name, please.
Rodney Charles Barker.
And are you acquainted with Gary Lee Millslagel?
I'm sorry, am I what?
Are you acquainted with the decedent,
Yes.
Gary Lee Millslagel?
Yes, sir.
How long have you known him?
I've known Gary for around 20 years.
Okay, and what's the nature of your acquaintance with him?
So Gary or Kathy is married to Paul Noble, which is a workmate of mine. So that's my acquaintance with him.
Okay, so do you know if Gary Lee Millslagel had any children?
Yes, he had 2. Him and Kathy had 2 kids, Jessica and Andrew.
So you know their first names, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and were you aware that Kathleen Noble has filed to be an independent administrator of the estate of Gary Lee Millslagel?
I am aware.
Okay, do you know of any reason why she may be disqualified to serve?
I do not.
And so I take it as a co-worker that you would see on occasion you would see Gary Lee Millslagel, is that right?
That's correct. Mainly family events and gatherings.
Okay. Did he speak of any other children other than Jessica May Millslagel and Andrew Scott Millslagel?
No, he did not.
You know of no other children?
I know of no other children.
I have no further witness. I have no further questions. Pass the witness.
Mr. Brannick, any questions this witness?
No, sir, Your Honor. At this time, I think that concludes the airship portion of our proceedings, and there's an order in your files signed by me and Mr. Dawson.
We've
Right,
agreed
so-
on ad litem fees, to my knowledge.
Okay, yeah, I've got an order here for $600 ad litem fees. And
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going to sign off on it. And also the judgment declaring airship. Right. Mr. Brannick from the administration.
All right. That's the administration part, Ms. Noble. There's a need to administer this estate. Is that correct?
That's correct.
There's some outstanding bills. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And there's several bank accounts that need to be addressed.
Yes.
And with that, you're asking this court to grant you letters of administration so you can take care of these matters.
That's correct.
And it's nothing complicated. It's just short, easy, and you can take care of.
Yes, sir.
And with that, Your Honor, with the need to take care of financial matters in this estate, we'd ask that the court sign the order granting letters of administration.
So done. Thank you, Counselor.
May we be excused, Your Honor?
You may be. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Cause number 43, the state of Joanne Heckler. Good morning, Ms. Poland. You got this one?
I do.
Bring your, there you go.
I'm playing the part of Pi Mayo today. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed, Counselor.
Thank you. Your Honor, Joanne Heckler died on February 27, 2024 at the age of 84 years. 4 years have not elapsed since the date of her death. She was domiciled and had a fixed place of residence in Beach City, Chambers County, Texas at the time of her death. She was never divorced after the date of the will. No children were born to or adopted by her after the date of the will. She was of sound mind and over the age of 18 at the time the will was signed. And to the best of my knowledge, she never revoked that will. The will did name her husband, Leo Heckler, to serve as independent executor, and he has declined to serve, and that is on file with the court.
Yes.
Her will named Donna Marie Heckler, also known as Donna Marie Porter, as alternate independent executrix to serve without bond, and Donna Marie Porter is not disqualified from serving in that capacity and receiving letters. There is a necessity for the administration of this estate, and no state governmental agency or charitable organization was named as a devisee in the will. Your Honor, we are asking that Donna Marie Porter be appointed as independent executrix and that appraisers be waived.
Well done. Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a great day.
You too. Are you on? All right, cause number 58, state of Roger Michael Gordon. Mr. Dawson.
Good morning, Judge, again.
Good morning again. You may
And
proceed.
I have Bonnie Jean Price here, and I have two witnesses, Marion Lee Spitzley and Karen L. Sullivan. This is a holographic will. And may I proceed, Judge?
You may proceed, Counselor.
First call, Bonnie Jean Price. Would you state your name, please?
Bonnie Jean Price,
And where do you live?
4314 Mallard Drive, Baytown, Texas.
Okay, was that also the resident of Roger Michael Gordon, the decedent?
Yes, sir, it was.
And how were you related to him?
Best friend and life partner.
Okay, and you all cohabited for many years, is that right?
That's correct.
And he died on April 3rd, 2024, is that right?
That's correct.
And at the time of his death, he was a resident of Chambers County, Texas.
Yes,
is that right? In fact, his residence was out there on Mallard Drive off of 3180, is that correct?
Yes.
And you brought me a document which purported to be his will, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you've reviewed that document and it's your opinion that it is his will, is that right?
That's right.
And that's completely in his handwriting, is that right?
It is.
Not only was it completely in his handwriting, but it was really quite legible, is that correct?
Yes.
And that was a characteristic of the decedent, Roger Gordon, to write very legibly.
Yes.
And the document dated January 10th, 2018, identified as his will, was filed with the clerk in Chambers County, is that right?
Yes.
And you're asking the will to be admitted, is that correct?
That's correct.
Judge, I'd ask you to take judicial notice of the will of Roger Michael Gordon dated June 10th, 2018 on file with the clerk.
Okay.
Ms. Price, a necessity exists for the administration of the estate, is that right?
Yes.
And there is no children born or adopted after the date of the will, is that right?
No, sir.
And he named you as beneficiary in the will, correct?
Yes, sir.
You're the sole beneficiary, is that right?
Yes, sir.
There's no gifts to any charitable organizations or any governmental entities, correct?
Correct.
It's a non-taxable estate, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're asking that appraisers be waived?
Yes.
And he at no time applied for Medicaid benefits, is that right?
No, he didn't.
And now in the will, in addition to being the sole beneficiary, he didn't provide for independent administration, nor did he appoint clearly an independent executor, is that right?
That's correct.
But under 401.002 of the Texas Estates Code, you're asking to be appointed independent administrator and for independent administration, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you've never been convicted of any criminal offense other than maybe some traffic tickets, is that right?
That's correct.
So far as you know, you're qualified to serve as independent administrator, correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Judge, that's all I have from Bonnie Jean Price.
Call your next witness, counsel.
I would now call Marion Lee Spitzley. Did I say that right?
Correct, Spitzley.
Miss Spitzley, now where are you living right now?
We're living in Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan.
Oh, so, okay, you're in Michigan. Well, I'm sure the temperature is nice up there about now. How are you related to the decedent?
I am his younger sister.
Okay, and have you had a chance to look at the document, the subject of this hearing today, dated June 10th, 2018?
Yes, I have.
And do you recognize that document?
I do.
Is that a document fully in the handwriting of your brother?
Yes, it is.
And do you believe that it is his will?
I do believe that.
And you don't have any adverse claim, do you?
Not at all.
You're in agreement that the will be admitted and that Bonnie G. Price be the sole beneficiary of his estate. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, how long was Bonnie Price and the decedent cohabit?
Well, we visited in 2000, and they were together then, and throughout the next 24 years. I'm not sure when they started their relationship, but it's definitely 23, 24 years.
In the document that I provided you, the purported will dated January 10th, 2018, is it wholly in his handwriting?
Correct. Yes.
You recognize his handwriting, is that correct?
Yes, I do.
You recognize his signature? Is it his signature?
It is.
So far as you know, when he signed the document, he would have been of sound mind. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Spitzley. Thanks so much for your testimony. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Call your next witness, counsel.
Judge, I call Karen L. Sullivan.
Let's
Ms.
see.
Sullivan.
Yes,
Oh, okay. Good morning.
good morning.
The document dated January 10th, 2018, signed by Roger Michael Gordon. What connection, if any, do you have to that document?
I'm the notary that signed it.
And where do you reside, ma'am?
I reside in Old River, Texas.
Okay. And were you present when he signed the document?
Yes, I was.
And was obviously he was an adult and of sound mind at the
Yes.
time he signed it?
Yes.
Was the document apparently in his sole handwriting?
Yes, it was.
And he signed it in your presence, is that correct?
Yes, he did.
Was it apparent to you that this was his will?
Yes, because prior to him ever filling it all out, he and I had talked about it. I was not only notary, I was his friend. We had known each other.
And at the time he signed the document, he was of sound mind, is that correct?
Yes.
Judge, that's all I'd have. Judge, I'd ask that the will dated January 10th, 2018 be admitted and that Bonnie Jean Price be appointed as independent administrator to serve without bond. That's all I have, Judge.
So done. Thank you, counselor. You
Thank
guys
you,
have a good
Judge.
day. Go to cause number 30, the interest of Emery Lewis Westbrook.
Morning.
Good morning, Ms. Nelson.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Lamar. All right, you may proceed,
Morning,
Counsel.
Judge.
That's the proposed applicant guardian, Your Honor. Oh, there you are, Nikita. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Yes, she's there.
I'm having some technical issues this morning with the rain and everything, so I apologize, you guys.
All right, you may proceed, Counselor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Westbrook,
Yes, ma'am.
can you please state your name for the court?
Kathleen Custer Westbrook.
And the proposed ward, Emery Westbrook, who is that person to you?
He is my son.
And he's 18, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have been taking care of your son since he was born, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And his primary diagnosis, if I'm not mistaken, is autism. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And in addition to autism, does he have any other diagnoses that affect his everyday living and his ability to make decisions, things like that?
He has a diagnosis of autism, intellectual disability, and speech impairment.
Okay. And how long has he had these incapacities?
He was diagnosed formally at Texas Children's at 3.
Okay. So from 3 to now, you have been the primary caretaker for your son, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what types of things, just briefly, give me an example, the court example of things that you assist your son with.
Day-to-day life, dressing, feeding, transportation to and from school, doctor's appointments, making his.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a lag. Go ahead.
Just making his decisions, like medical decisions.
Okay. And your son, he doesn't have an estate, correct? Meaning he doesn't own any property or he doesn't have any large sums of money, correct?
No, ma'am.
Does he receive any type of disability or any money?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So currently anything that has to be purchased for your son or anything like that, you are purchasing those items yourself, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So that you wouldn't need to be the guardian of the estate. You're just requesting to be the guardian of the person. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have looked into other less restrictive means, and to your knowledge, a guardianship is what is necessary for your son, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you do understand that this is a lifelong thing. So when you sign up for it, I'm sure you already know this, but that means that this person is going to be in your care, custody, and control for essentially the rest of their life if they don't make any turns for the better. You're understanding of that and you are okay with that decision, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're asking that the court appoint you as guardian person for your son, Emery Westbrook. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you believe that that would be in the ward's best interest?
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions, Your Honor. I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Nelson.
Morning. Good morning, Kathleen.
Good morning.
You recall that you and I met at your home, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And I also was able to meet your husband.
Mm-hmm.
It's your position, and it certainly is my position, but I'll let you affirm this, that you are the best qualified person to take this position.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And of course, both you and your husband have raised this child together, and he also helps you as needed in your position as mother and Will as guardian as well. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And of course, because of his disabilities, there absolutely is no alternative to guardianship at this point in his life.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And you understand that yearly you'll just have to make a status report to this court just to update them if there's any changes. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, I'm approved the fees for the ad litem. and order appointing guardian of the person of Emily Lewis Westbrook, Kathleen Custer Westbrook.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day. Thank you, ma'am.
May we be excused?
You may be.
Thank you.
All right, last but not least, cause number 54, the state of James Warden Setley.
Good morning, Judge. How are
Good
you?
morning. Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm
You may
here.
proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Judge. I'm here on behalf of the applicant in this matter. James Warren Setley passed away April 26, 2024 in Baytown, actually in Chambers County. His fixed place of residence and domicile at the time of his death was Baytown, Chambers County, Texas. He died leaving a will that was dated August 6, 2015 that submitted to the court. That will is proven, self-proven, that's provided by the Estates Code. It does not name a state agency, governmental organization, entity, or charitable organization. To the best of my knowledge, Mr. Setley did not owe any debts other than those secured by the real estate. His will named as his sole devotee his wife, Judith Setley, who is the applicant. The will was not revoked after the time of its execution. He was not married or had any other children born to or adopted by him after its execution. We're asking that the court admit this will to probate as a muniment of title only. And given that Ms. Setley is the sole devotee, we'd ask that the affidavit of fulfillment be waived.
Well done. Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good day.
Okay. Yes, Brian, B-R-Y-N. No, Brian. Her name could be Brian.